All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac here on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com, 1010XL app, 1010XL, YouTube, and all over social media and other podcast platforms right here out of the 1010XL studios and brought to you by my good friends at Team Tommy Mac. Love endorsing each and every one of them. I'll tell you about them a little bit later on in the show. Make sure you check out TommyMac.net and you'll see them all right there. Of course, I tag them all on the social media posts. You can catch them there as well. Hit that handle and boom, you're right onto their page. Great to have all of them on board. All right, lots to get into today. 2 1-5 teams going to kick it off at 9:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. Coming up in London, the second of 2 of our Jags on the road. This one will be a home game, though, so they're not at home, but they're considered the home team in this one. And we'll talk about that and much more, get into team stats and other things. And before we do that, let's say hi to Grammage. Grammage, how you doing, brother? Afternoon.
It's Friday.
Yes.
It is 72 degrees and sunny here in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yep.
Best 3-day weather stretch.
Oh, it's the best.
Since probably March.
Yeah.
Probably.
I tell you, man, the end of the year in Northeast Florida is some of the best weather.
Dude, it's unreal.
You can have.
It's unreal.
It really is. But I think part of it, because we go through this hot summer, and it's so stifling, and then we get this, we're like, man, the sun's still hot, so you're getting tan still, but the breeze is cool, and you just, oh, man, in the morning, nighttime, that's the best.
It's like the summer is training camp.
Yeah.
You got to earn it.
Yep.
In the summer, you got to go through the hot to be able to earn the nice.
Yep.
And I always say that about our Jaguars in years that we've struggled and years that it's been a rough end of the season.
Yep.
At least here, when they're not playing well, if you go to the games, at least it's nice to be outside, nice day.
Yeah.
Think about some of those really bad Browns teams.
Right. Yeah.
Those fans sitting
Freezing.
in that,
yeah, snow, ice, having their nostrils all iced up and stuff.
And their team's won one game. This game means nothing, and they're
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I barely go if we're 1-5 when we're 1-5. But I want to get into a couple things before we get into how they beat New England and all this stuff and all these stats, which I love doing. But I noticed a article today from Jimmy Golden. It looks like Golden. He's an AP writer out of Boston. He was talking about New England and the Jags, and basically he was saying about our Jags defense, which he got this from interviewing the coaches and whatnot, okay, and his own opinion. Inconsistent pass rush, blown assignments, and gap integrity issues. Well, let me just say, gap integrity issues mean you're getting your ass kicked at the line of scrimmage, basically. You're getting thrown off the ball. You're getting pushed around, and they have a little bit, so we've seen that. Blown assignments, we've seen that. These are the things. Inconsistent pass rush. Yeah. All these things. And you're sitting there going, gosh darn, why? Why is this happening? Why are there so many blown assignments? Why? Why aren't these guys ultra focused? Why aren't they? And look, you may be out there thinking, well, the coach, I don't know. Does a 30-year-old man, 28-year-old man, 25-year-old man, 22-year-old man, adult, need the head coach to get me ultra focused on my job? How about a little fear in losing your job? That's what should happen. And I've got other quotes to get into because it really bothered me today. Cisco says they quit. We heard that. Trevor says they're fragile, which that just dig into that one. What is, that? He's not talking about going out there and fighting. He's talking about mentally and emotionally fragile. So what does that mean? What I think it means is when someone gets critiqued or called out, they can't handle it. They're fragile, right? They're not going to say, "Okay, you're right, man. I'm gonna tighten it up. I'm gonna get in my book. I'm gonna study." It's never going to happen again. I promise you that. No, they go the other way. They're like, "How dare you point me out? How dare you call me out?" Those kind of things. I will say this about Cisco, and I like Cisco. He's got to play better, but he's okay. He's okay. He needs to play better, no doubt. Number one, don't ever air your dirty laundry in public. That's a no-no, man. You should never throw your teammates under the bus. I know you included yourself, but self-deprecation's the easiest thing for anybody to do about themselves. I make fun of this big fat head all the time. It's self-deprecation. It's easy, right? Laugh all you want, because I'm the one saying it. When someone else says it, I get a little upset. Not gonna lie. I can say it all I want, but you don't air your dirty laundry. And number two, when I heard that, Doug, well, did you talk to him? No, I didn't really talk to him. Like, what are you talking about? That's the first thing you should do. Get in my office and you're going to sit down. And by the way, if you're going to stand on that box, Andre, two things. One, you better be flawless. Like no mistakes, no missed tackles, no blown assignments, no being out of coverage. You know that's not the case, so you shouldn't have said it again on top of that. And number two, go to the guys. You want to be a leader? Don't. And now, granted, he didn't go looking for it. Brent asked him a question. It was a fine question. No problem with the question. He answered the question. It's an emotional time after a game. We all get that. But go to the players. Who quit on you, Andre? Who quit on this team? Go to them. Go to their face and be like, man, you're quitting on this team. If that's happening in the locker room, I'd be shocked. And that's what Trevor, I think, is talking about, the fragility of that. No one wants to, like, collectively. Some guys, of course, yell at me all you want, critique me all you want. I'll make sure that it doesn't happen again or to the best of my abilities. And I'm telling you, this is what the problem is inside that locker room, inside the organization right now. You got a coach that coaches one way, and you got a GM bringing in players that doesn't match the way that coach coaches. And that's one of the keyest, the most key ingredients in building a roster. Let me take you back. Now, it's just one team. But let me take you back to what Dan Campbell said when they first got together as the head coach of the Detroit Lions, and he picked his GM, or the GM picked him, however it worked. They sat down. This is public knowledge. He said, we didn't talk about talent. We didn't talk about scheme. We talked about what kind of player do we want representing this Detroit Lions organization. I'm not talking about 40 times. I'm not talking about catches. I'm not talking about throws or any of that. I'm talking about what kind of player. Does it mean everything to them? Are they dedicated the whole time? Do they make sacrifices? Because it takes a lot. You don't think those coaches sacrifice? Go ask their families. The players have to sacrifice too. It's all part of the gig. Are they doing all that? You got to have that. And I don't think we have that. I don't. Gramich, how are you?
I'm good, sir. I have a couple thoughts on what you just said. All good stuff. The Lions thing, I think, is a really good point. I think the more important thing is just the simple fact of the general manager and the head coach being in lockstep. Certain things that have happened this year, Hayes Carlin made a really good point in the preseason on his show. He said, I don't care what the coach says in terms of what they feel about a certain guy. They show you with how they play them. In the preseason, Roy Robertson-Harris, he played deep into the third and fourth quarter. He's gotten shipped out of town. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not. Yep. Mason Smith was a healthy scratch as a second-round pick the second and third game of the season. What does that say? That says the general manager made this pick, the head coach didn't want him to make this pick. It's that simple. Yep. I mean, I don't have like...
There's some truth to that. No, and that's what could be the problem.
Well, right? Yeah.
Look at Eric Armstead. He's a tackle. I told him he could play end.
Correct.
We need him to play tackle.
Correct.
Well, I signed him and told him he could play end, so he's going to play end.
And for the record, it's not like I'm in the locker room and Doug Peterson told me this, but you're just connecting the dots logically.
Right.
What head coach in their right mind would say, I want this guy in the second round and then not play a healthy scratch the second week of the season? It's clear
based on practice.
Correct. It's clear that they do not agree with how to evaluate talent and who to bring in and all that.
What kind of talent
Correct.
they want, what kind of person they want
Correct.
inside that locker room.
It's very obvious they're not on the same page there.
Yep.
The Andre Cisco thing, I agree. If you're going to say it in the media, you better say it to people's faces, and you better be balling.
That's right.
You better be
big-time balling.
You better be making all kinds of plays. You better have caused 3 or 4 turnovers this year.
All-star. If you're going to make that kind of comment. Yep.
To me, Trevor, with the fragile comment, I do agree with you that I think a lot of it is the guys just don't have the
gumption.
Aren't willing to maybe swallow their pride when they mess up and say, yeah, I did screw up.
Right.
Like, this criticism is warranted. That's part of it. I also think he's also referring to in-game, in the heat of battle when bad things happen. And so that goes hand in hand to an extent, too. These guys don't pick themselves up and keep playing.
Yeah.
It felt like the ETN fumble beat him like 3 games in a row.
Yeah, but think about like last game, Grammy. So it's 21-3. We go down 21-10. The next series, Trayvon gets a sack, and there's 12 men on the field. right? And then we give him another shot. Well, we didn't give up. We went back to third down, stopped him on third down, and we had defensive holding. We didn't give up. We gave, you know what I mean? Then it happened again. So I don't know. Look, I don't know. Fragile. If you're talking about like mentally, like things go south and then we're done, right? Like the Etienne fumble. Like, I don't know. I think it was smart play call by Mike McDaniel saying, hey, here's a good time to throw a bomb, even though we're backed up. And Brian Nielsen's sitting there going, there's no way he's going to throw a bomb. He's on his own 10. What did they do? They threw a bomb. He had all day long to throw it. And those two plays, that crumbled them, without a doubt. And that momentum happens.
But it shouldn't have crumbled him.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
You had a quarter and a half still to play.
Yeah.
Miami's gotten back into it. They've gotten momentum.
Shouldn't have crumbled them.
Well, guess what? Go take momentum back.
Right. Agreed.
And that they don't do. And that is incredibly frustrating to watch. You get the sense that once there's like the backbreakers in the games for them come too early, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's one thing if the too many men on the field and the Bears go down and score. It's like, 4 minutes left, game's over anyways, that type of thing. But there's still time to figure it out.
At that point.
Go get a huge play.
Right.
Go get a pick. Go get a strip sack. Go get a 50-yard bomb to Brian Thomas. Go do something. It's just that ability to pick themselves up off the mat.
Right.
I have not felt is there all year.
Okay. So, to me, that's got to come from the players.
I agree.
Coaches can help, try to get you go. But if you don't have it inside you like that, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to, it's probably a stupid meathead comment, but if you hit me in the face, I get mad. I don't get sad. I don't get cowardly. I want to whack the crap out of your back. The minute you touch my face, I'm swinging back. I'm not, it's just in my nature. And I don't swing first. I'm not looking for trouble. I don't want any fights. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I'm just saying my attitude, so if you yelled at me on the field because I screwed up, and I already know I screwed up, that just made me more mad to not screw up to not want to screw up again. That's how I'm wired. That's how our team was wired back in the 90s. And then Coughlin pushed us to the limit, no doubt. But we had guys that, we might have bitched and moaned, but at the end of the day, we cared just as much about winning as he did. You had to be ultra-focused, or you sat your ass down. And I said it on Monday. That's got to happen. I'm sorry. Playing on the field away. And there's a quote in here I'm going to get to because that's part of it. It's true. That hurts players. Because on Sunday, you're not thinking about your money. You're thinking about playing and being, on TV and in front of your family and your friends, and they're in the stands, and you're out there starting. They announced the starters in the beginning of the game. You're a little disappointed they announced the offense this week because you're on defense, but nonetheless, you're a defensive starter, and you're out there and everything, blah, 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 right? Because you take that away, then guess what? They start asking questions.
You said it. You brought it up a couple, I think maybe last episode or something. Yep. You're absolutely right, I think. It's a shot to the ego. Like this London game, right?
Yep.
Say that, I'm going to pick on him because he hasn't played very well. Say that, Ronald Darby, okay, on, Friday morning or Sunday or whenever is told he's not going to start today.
Right.
And his whole family came over to see the game, and they're there in the stadium.
And starting? Because I had 2 back-to-back defensive holding calls that I should have never had. Right? Now, here's an idea. Tyson Campbell comes back this week. I hope he's fully healthy. I would put Monteric Brown on the other side. I
totally
would put
agree.
Darby there.
Totally
I'd say,
agree.
Hey, I'm sorry. You Ronald, you haven't played well enough. And you need to think about things. I'd do the same for Eric. I would, and that's where push comes to shove. And these kind of things happen inside an organization when things aren't going well, right? I don't want him to play end. He's not effective at end. Well, I told him he could play end. So he's got to play some end. I told him he could play 50% at end. Well, he's not good at end. He's got to play tackle, period. Then there's that push and shove. And guess what? Then they got to go to the owner and be like, hey, he doesn't want to play my guy. We're paying him $18 million a year because he doesn't want to play, doesn't want to play end. Then you put Shot in a bind. You know what I mean? Well, so that's why when I said on Monday, you got to have full authority. Doug does. Full authority from the top down that you get to play who's the best. Period. Forget draft. Listen, this is the politics of football. Where you're drafted, how much money they have got invested in you, and how much is it more current than dead, or later. Those things factor in. And when you have to go to the owner and say, look, Shad, I got to sit Armstead. He just won't listen. He only wants to play end. He gives us half-assed tackle, gives us half-assed end. I got to sit him down. And the owner's going to look at the GM and go, well, why did I sign him? Why did I bring him in? You told me he was going to be great at everything that he did. Now, why isn't he? And by the way, I don't know football that well, but I do know this. He's a better tackle than an end, right? And these things can't happen or they just continue to build and build. And then when you continue to lose, then everyone's trying to save their own ass. Because Trent's going, what? Hey, Shad, you even said it. I told you, but you said it. That's the best roster you've ever had, or this organization's ever had, which is totally asinine. But anyway, that was said. Well, what does Trent Baalke say? You said the roster was great. Ain't me. I'm not coaching him. It's not me. It's him. I said it on Twitter. If you fire Doug, fire Trent. Get rid of, and I don't want to fire anybody right now. I want to see what happens. I'm not giving up yet. And I got him winning, by the way. If you haven't heard Jaguars today, I got him winning 20-10. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be really ugly. But they've got to eventually click. It's not talent. It's attitude. I've been saying that for 2 freaking years now. It's attitude. You know what Doug says? This is what Doug says on that AP thing in response to Cisco, in response to Trevor. Yeah, guys need to eliminate mental mistakes, be physically tougher, and more well-conditioned. Now, what the bump does that mean, more well-conditioned? I've been saying it, right? Guys are out of shape. Why aren't you running their ass? What do you mean? What does that mean, well-conditioned? I'm sorry. You have conditioning after practices. Grammage, how much conditioning did they do during training camp after practice? You ever see them run sprints? You ever see them run gassers? I haven't. Maybe on occasion. And by the way, they're half-assed. They're kind of jogs.
I was just about to say.
They ain't for time. They ain't where you're sprinting your ass off trying to make your time, because if you don't make your time, you got to run extra.
I was just about to say that.
That drives me insane.
They do the sideline to sideline.
They're jogging.
It's very much like going through the motions. We do it because we have to. It's not like a Coughlin, I'm watching your ass, you better be humping it type of thing.
Look, you do conditioning for 2 things. Mental toughness, because nobody wants to do it. And number 2, you are ensuring that your team is in great condition. They have to be in great condition. You can't be jogging. Who jogs? Lloyd jogs. Hamilton jogs. Eric Armstead jogged. I saw Heinz Allen jog. Loafing, we call that. Loafing. And sorry to spit. Maybe that's what Cisco's talking about. That's the quit. We're loafing, man. We're giving up on plays. We're jogging. Where's the pursuit drill? Remember the pursuit drill? You did it in high school. We had to run full speed to wherever the ball was. Could be way down on the left sideline, and you're in the middle of the field. You got to run all the way down there, run back, do it again to the other side. Right? It's conditioned.
Our high school defensive coordinator would sometimes go from the practice field, and he'd run into the school. Mm-hmm. He would literally run into the school and make us go get him.
Me and Camp were talking about this yesterday off air of the horse's mouth. He's like, you know what we do? We line up in our defense. We'd throw the ball deep downfield. We start at the 20. They'd all have to run full speed, all have to run back to the huddle. We'd move it up 20 yards. Do the same thing. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. He's like, that was their conditioning.
I know.
It's conditioned in your head. It's like the Bears going after the ball. It's conditioned in their head. They practice it. They do it. It's like secondhand nature to go after the football. That's why they have all those knockouts.
I know pursuit is a defensive drill, but both sides need to always be running the football.
Yep.
Did you watch Texas Oklahoma on Saturday?
I watched only the beginning. I didn't watch a lot of it. No.
Did you see the fumble touchdown?
I did see that.
That's pursuit of the ball.
Yeah, right.
The receiver is running down there, and he's sprinting to catch up with his teammate to A, maybe get a block or push if he needs, and then B, celebrate with his guy who just scored. Because he's running, because he's giving effort. When the running back fumbles, guess who's first to the ball? The receiver. He's got a touchdown.
That's right.
Versus a lot of Oklahoma defenders were loafing, aren't there on time.
Could have been there. Right. They could have been.
Think about people were really killing Devin Lloyd, rightfully so. For him loafing when he got beat on that double fake. Caleb fake left, fake right, screen in the middle. Because Lloyd got beat. Sucks. You get beat. Whatever.
Right. Happens.
But if you're sprinting to the ball, I think Cisco made the tackle down the field.
No, he got run over.
But he made the tackle though, right?
Kind of. I think Brown came and finished him, but he got run over. But I know what you're saying, so keep going.
So the point is, and the reason you have to be running the ball, what if when Monteric Brown comes in, what if Kmet fumbles?
What if you make him fumble? What if you get there fast enough because
and you
did slow him down and you whack it out of his hand because you never gave up on the play? He jogs way too much. He'd be sitting down. I'm sorry. Let me give you this quote from Gerard Mayo. Gerard Mayo, the head coach of the New England Patriots. What's your thoughts on being 1-5? He says, playing time will be affected. It'll be a wake-up call. That's what I'm talking about. Take the playing time away. Look, the money's the money. And I've been thinking about this a lot. Forget about the money. And the owner, look, I know it's hard, but first of all, supposedly the value of the Jags is like $6-7 billion. Okay, he bought it for $780,000 or something, or million, and it's ridiculous, which is great. But my point is, look, the money's gonna be there because of the CBA, the percentage of salary cap. They're gonna keep playing players because they have the money. They're just gonna keep playing. So fine, everybody's gonna get paid. So take the money out of it. Now, what's important? What's important to you as a player? Yeah, you can sit there and be like, yeah, well, I got my money, so I don't really care. Well, guess what? Let me throw this at you because we just had alumni weekend, okay? And we had a great group of guys. Probably, I don't know. Well, the field was different than the events. The first event at Beach Bowl, we probably had 40 guys from different eras, right? All throughout. All the big guys were there, all the, old teammates, friends, what have you. Well, let me tell you something. When you walk into that room, all right, say we're all in there and you walk into that room, a Hall of Famer trumps everybody, right? As if there's status, which, by the way, there isn't any because we're all just teammates. But if there was, Hall of Famer, he trumps everybody. Pro Bowler, star player, just well-known, great player. They trump everybody. And guess what? Nobody mentions how much money they made. The only time they mention it is when they sit there and go, can you believe that guy made that kind of money and he didn't do anything?
It's a negative connotation.
It's a negative connotation. So nobody cares about how much money you made in the NFL when you get with your peers and you're sitting there talking about the game. They don't. They sit there and go, man, Hall of Fame. That would be awesome. Super Bowl rings. When you walk into a room with other players from other teams, guess who trumps everybody? The Super Bowl winners. They come in with their rings. You're like, yeah, sit the bump down. The Super Bowl champs are here. You're not it. And every other player that never has a ring, including myself, looks at that and be like, man, to call yourself a Super Bowl champion, I don't care what position you had on that team. It don't matter. You're a Super Bowl champion, and you're one of how many? They can never take that away. So this whole money thing, great. You can go back home. You can go in front of your friends and whatnot, and they may kiss your ass because people kiss people's asses that have money for some reason. It's so stupid, but they do it all over the place. You're going to be kissing nobody's going to be kissing your butt. Trust me, your former players, your former teammates, not going to be thinking about that. Be thinking about what kind of player you were and what kind of guy you were. I don't know how much money all my teammates made. I don't go back and sit there. Now, look, Matt Ryan walks in the room and be like, man, he was a great player, and he made over $300 million playing this game. I'd be like, that's pretty freaking awesome, right? First of all, I don't covet. I'm not envious of anything, right? The good Lord doesn't want me to be, and I'm not ever going to be. Very comfortable in what my skin and everything, and everybody else should be too. My point is that, so you're not going to motivate them, right? Because they're going to fall back on the money. Well, then take the playing time away. Take that away. But you've got to have the owner on the same page. And at 1-5, if I'm the owner, I'd say to Doug Peterson, Doug, you play who you want, when you want, and where you want, and that's final. General manager, that's not your job. You've already done your job. Your job is to bring in the talent. It's not to tell the head coach when and where to play them. So if that's even happening, which it feels like there's some push and pull, you just can feel it, even from outside the building, got to cut that right now. Over. Look, I got them winning 20-10. I don't think New England's very good. They're not. We'll see if May can. Look, he had one good game. Good for him. He's a nice young prospect, but I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about our defense not doing their job, and that's what I'm talking about here. This is what Doug's saying. This is what Gerard Mayer was saying. The head coaches are saying. It's all about execution. It's all about the players. Yeah, we got to put them in the right spot. Yeah, we got to do the right things. We got to make the right calls. No doubt about it. But those players got to do it. And to me, that's what it comes down to. Now, listen, this team, they're 1-5. Drake May last week, they lost, 41-20. Houston beat him up pretty good, but he had a good game. He was sacked 4 times. It was his first start. He was 20-33, 61%, 7.4 down the field, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. They're having problems fumbling the football. Stevenson is. He's going to have to sit a bit. They got another Antonio Gibson. They're both averaging 4.7, 4.6 yards per carry. You know, they're gonna try to pound the rock. Guess what else they're gonna do? Take a guess. What do you think they're gonna do on offense if you're New England? Gramage had to step out, so I'm just talking to myself here and all of you fine people. I really appreciate it. And all you out there in the future archive of this, right? What do you think they're going to do? They're going to attack our linebackers and safeties. Because why? Because they're liabilities in coverage. Devin Lloyd right now is a liability in coverage. Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, they're going to eat us for lunch if we don't do something about it. You can't rely on Devin Lloyd covering the tight end or anybody else for that matter. He was lost covering Kmet. Kmet outshined him. He had no chance. Well, guess what? They're going to do the same things. I'm not saying I want Devin Lloyd bench. I just don't want him to be my dime backer. I don't want him being in charge of covering anybody. I want him to be my run stuffer, and I want him to be a guy that can maybe pass rush. Maybe he's my third defensive end or pass rusher on third down. Get him out there. We saw it a little bit. Let's see more. That's what he did in college. He is a thumper. And by the way, I know everyone's talking about that run, okay? Here's the glob of linemen. Here's Lloyd behind him, and the back's coming. The back can go either way. Lloyd guessed wrong. He's not afraid of contact. There's no way he jumped out of that hole because he didn't want to hit that back. Go see his hits in the hole. The guy's a thumper. He just read it wrong, which is part of his problem too. And by the way, he's not the only one. Not all of them read very well, it seems. Now, Ventrell Miller, again, don't take him off the field. He's my cover guy. He's my Mike backer. When Foye comes back, maybe you make the switch. We'll see. He might be even a better cover guy than Foye. The thing is, Foye knows everything about the defense, and he will give you. He's a true pro, just like Evan Ingram on the other side. True freaking pros. And that's what it comes down to. And it pisses me off, man. I'm sorry. Look, again, I don't know why I always say this, but I wasn't a star player. I was a grunt, but I came to play every time. And so did my teammates. We gave a shit. We did, man. We did. Listen, we had our fun off the field, no doubt about it. But we gave a shit when we didn't play well. I know for me, if the team won and I didn't play well, guess what? I felt like crap. I'm glad we won. Mondays were going to be a lot easier, but I felt like crap because I didn't play well. Vice versa. If we lost and I played well, I wouldn't say nothing publicly, but inside I'd be like, man, I played a good game today. And I'm pissed off we lost, but at least I have, I did what I was supposed to do. It's taking personal pride in your performance. And if you don't have that across the board, guys are alpha males, that's all they want to do is perform great. It's not going to happen, especially with a coach like Doug Peterson, who's not a hammer and fist kind of guy. He's not. And that's okay. And I'm telling you, there's strife in that organization right now between the GM and the head coach, and something's got to give. So, look, if I'm a player on that team, I'm taking it all myself. I'm taking it all myself, and I'm going to my teammates, hey, man, this is on us. It's all on us. Do our jobs, and we have a chance. I mean, think about it. Just think about the last 6 games. Think about how many plays per game, if they just executed a little bit better, 50%, maybe 35%, they would be winning more games. They would. They don't execute well enough. I see Gabe Davis drop a touchdown pass. His face is like, shucks. No. Now, granted, you caught a couple more. Good for you, but you got to catch them all. That goes for all of them. I'm telling you, man, it's got to come down to these play. The coaches got to do what they have to do. There's no doubt. And guess what? They get fired if they don't win. They do. Not all the players do. Some will. Some will be let go, but most won't because of contracts and whatnot. But those coaches, they're out the door. And you know what? If you keep losing, then it's going to be rightfully so. I'm not ready to give up yet. I'm not. I really do think it's more attitude than anything. I really do. It's more attitude. Look, this is your life. Let me tell you something. When you're done playing ball, I hope you get a chance to walk away the way you wanted to, not the way the game told you to, not the way your body said, hey, man, it's over. Not just because, the game says goodbye, you're not good enough. No, you get to walk out. You know how many guys get to do that? Hardly any. And when the game's over, You miss it. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And I'm not just talking the money. I'm talking it all. The glory, you'll never replace the glory. Granted, my marriage, my wedding, absolutely. My children and their births and their lives, no doubt about it. There's glory, and all the glory goes to God. But when you're talking about sports, there is nothing more glorious than winning a football game. There's nothing more glorious than playing well in a game that you helped your team win. There's nothing more glorious than going to the freaking playoffs, winning a playoff game. I've never been to the Super Bowl, but there's got to be nothing more glorious than going. There's got to be nothing more glorious than winning. Just come on. This is your livelihood. It's not what you do outside the field. Nobody gives a shit. I don't care what you do on Instagram. I don't care what your brand is. And by the way, it ain't just Jags. I had a conversation today driving to school. My daughter and her two friends, Ella and Emery, good. They're really good dance friends and friends. And we're listening to the music. And what came on? It was a song that came on, and I totally lost my point. Gosh damn! I hope he comes back. But it just look at the end of the day, I just want these players to know that once it's over, and you didn't do everything you could, you're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it. I think about things. I do, man, and I think about things, and I don't have regrets. Regrets, I've had a few. I don't, but there are things that I maybe would have done different. Like in high school, I wouldn't have stopped playing basketball. I stopped after my freshman year. I was an okay basketball player. Why shouldn't I have stopped? Because it was great for football. It was great for football. I mean, if you can cover somebody in the open court, you can cover somebody on the open field. Very similar in athletic ability. You know, when I was playing, when I was single, like a lot of us single guys, we did our work, we played hard, we cared about the game, and then what did we do off the field? Well, we did too much off the field. I know I did. Would I have gone back and changed that a little bit? I probably would have. I remember after the 1996 season, where I started most of that year, I finished third on the team in tackles. I think I had 100, and I know I had 119. I didn't think 119. I had 30 during the playoff run in 3 different starts. And I thought I was 246 pounds. I was lean and mean, as quick as I'd ever been. And I looked at Levon Kirkland, the stud Steeler backer, and he was like 275. And I was like, man, you got to be big. And I got bigger. I got to 255. Then I tear my ACL the first week of training camp in 1997, after that great year, right? I look back at that. You should have stayed lean and mean. It's all about speed and athletic, but you can hit. Wait, you tell me I can't hit as hard at 246 that I can at 255? Maybe it puts too much pressure on me, on my knees or my body or what have you. You think about these things. And when your career's over, you do, man. You look back, you're like, well, what if, What if I didn't go out 4 nights a week? What if I went out 2? I make jokes about that, but in all seriousness, what if I don't know, I worked hard, man. I did everything I could. I did. I did everything extra. Everything I could, whether that was extra gym time, karate, or we did kung fu, we did taekwondo, boxing, yoga, stretch my ass off. I mean, I worked like crazy because I wanted to be that good, especially when I got the taste of starting and knowing that I could start in the NFL. I'm telling you right now, those are the regrets you'll think about when your game's over. Great, you can sit there and say I played the NFL. Great, you can say you made all this money. But guess what? If your play don't match the money, just sit down and shut the what up and stay home because nobody cares. All right, that's my rant. I apologize. It just gets me fired up, man. I want this team to win so bad. I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, look, we should beat this team. They got a rookie QB. I don't think he's anywhere near Caleb Williams' caliber. I think that kid's special. Whatever, you can hate me if you want. I don't really care on that. I do care. I don't want you to hate me. But if you don't like that statement, what am I going to do? I don't think Drake May's that. Their offensive line has given up 23 sacks. We're going to get into this team stats. I mean, they're not a very good team. Their D-line's not that great. They got one guy with 4 sacks. They've got 14 total. So do we. So that must not be that good. By the way, Josh Hines-Allen, 2.5 sacks. I don't care if you're close. I don't care. He's close. He's trying hard. What? You were paid a mega deal to get sacks. Get them. Trayvon, keep it up. All right. So their D-line's not very good. Their offensive line's not very good. They've got a running game that averages 4.6. They've got a backfield and defense that's pretty good. Their tight ends are pretty good. I mean, they've got enough to hurt you, don't get me wrong, but we line up better. We line up better, without question. Hey, Ryan Brinkman. You're right, Ryan. Wrestling, jiu-jitsu, handwork, all of it. I agree. D-line, O-line, no doubt. Are they doing that? Are they doing that? Are they doing extra? I don't know. Only they know. But you got to do more extra. When Doug says we got to be more well-conditioned, that just, because, hey, if you're not getting it in practice, what do? I know what our guys did. That big old Baselli, 6'7", 325 pounds, would get on the treadmill after a long practice and run. Him and Brunel. I'd get on there and do sprints on there. Bunch of guys did extra stuff because it mattered to them. Baselli used to work with our strength coach, Jerry Palmieri. Jerry would put on these hand pads, and in the weight room, he would pretend like he's Russian, and Tony would get into his drop set and his pass protection, and he'd bang those pads, and it was like, thwack, 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 thwack. It was unbelievable to watch. This is after padded practice. Because why? Because he wanted to be great. And you got to continue to work out. Do we have those guys in the locker room? I think we have some. I do. I named two. Foye for sure. Ingram. I think, yeah, totally. Both those guys. I think Tank cares. I think Etan cares. I think Trevor cares. I think Kirk cares. Gabe's got to show me a little bit more, but I got to think he cares. I think the O-line cares. You got to want it, man. It's got to be in your blood. And I'm sorry. If you're distracted at home, you need to have a conversation. You need to have a conversation. And it's got to be a tough one. Because let me tell you something. The minute you start not producing at the level you're supposed to, not having a good attitude, not being prepared, is the minute they start of ending your career, of thinking of ending your career, or at least with that team. That's the reality. So if you got distractions out there, get rid of them. You're 1-6. Listen, I'm not giving up yet. You get beat by the Pats, I'm going to be... Green Bay's going to smoke your ass. We'll see what Houston does. I got Green Bay winning, but Houston, they're a very good team at 5-1. We should be right there along with them. Maybe 4-2. Maybe. We got time to turn it around, man. We got time to turn it around. But yeah, Christian Gonzalez, very good defensive back. He's a corner. They got some guys that are injured. Jonathan Jones, another corner that's good. He's questionable. Marcus Jones, another corner. He's questionable. Kyle Duggar, he's questionable. The safety. Keon White has 4 sacks. He's their leader. Left tackle's out. Left guard is questionable. They got good linebackers in Jennings, Tavai, and McMillan. They're the top 3 tacklers of the team. So they're good, but they're not great. And this is a team we should beat. But they're saying the same thing. They're saying the exact same thing. So we'll see what happens with all of that. Let's get into the team stats review brought to my friends at Team Tommy Mac. I'm going to do something different I thought about today. So you can always see Team Tommy Mac on my social media posts. I tag every one of them. Please visit their Facebook pages and other social media pages. They're on my webpage, TommyMac.net. You can see this show. You'll see the horse's mouth. We're adding other content. You'll see all their logos. Just please go visit and click on their logo, and it'll take you right to the website. And they're fantastic. Today I'm going to highlight a few of them. I'm going to read them all, but I'll highlight a few of them. Of course, you see Carpet Man Flooring. I love it. You know, the other day we're picking up some pharmacy drugs, and the pharmacist woman goes, you know, I feel like I have breakfast with you every morning. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, I see the Carpet Man commercial every morning when I'm eating breakfast. Like that's pretty awesome, man. But Carpet Man Flooring, carpetman.biz, 2 great locations in Orange Park on Wells Road and right there on St. John's Bluff Boulevard near Craig Airfield. Go check out the highest quality of flooring, all kinds of flooring, not just LVP, all types of Carpet Man Flooring at the lowest prices. Crystal Sales bail bonds, they get you out of jail, man. Make sure you keep them in the Rolodex. J-Dog, junk removal and hauling for all your hauling needs. Don't forget, construction debris, they specialize in it. specialize in it. They'll come and pick it up for all you contractors and you home builders. 844 get J-Dog. Fields Auto of Jacksonville, Cadillac of Jacksonville, and of St. Augustine. They are the title sponsor of Riding Shotgun. By the way, if you would please, I know you get asked a lot of this kind of nature. I'm trying to build this Tommy Mac 55 YouTube channel, and I'm putting all some really exclusive content on there, including the new show Riding Shotgun. By the way, Brett Myers has been a guest. Fantastic. I'm gonna keep sharing it. Kevin Hardy has been my second guest. Daniel Murphy's on the docket. John Gordon, the legendary motivational speaker's on the docket. Jim Furyk said he'll come on. I've got other guys, Dave Campo. I'm going after Sammy Kavares. I'm going after all the iconic people in this town. We're going to have musicians. I've heard some really big name musicians maybe on the show. So if you would, right now, all I'm airing it on is the YouTube channel, at Tommy Mac 55. At Tommy Mac 55. Greatly appreciate that. Azar sausage, hey, whether in your dish or favorite dish or in a bun, it's the one. Of course, Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, 399-5222. I am reading them all off, aren't I? Salt Air Inn and Suites, boutique hotel right near the beach and right near the action in Atlantic Beach. Family Tradition Specialty Foods. You saw my, listen, man, that Pineapple Ghost and the Sriracha are my favorite. They are very good. The garlic Parmesan's really good too, man. Go check them out at Family Tradition Specialty Foods.com. Code Ninjas, you see me wear that shirt. Hey, great school program for your kids. Get them into technology, man. I'm telling you, you know where it's going. Let them be a part of that wave. I've heard kids coming out of that program getting offered jobs. True story. CodeNinjas.com. Freedom Finance, my man. Courtney Myers, that's his business, freedomfinancellc.com. Whether you need to raise capital, you need to have your books done, you need some forecasts, what have you, he is absolutely fantastic. Michael Nichols is State Farm Agency. He's been my agent for over 20 years. Him and his team take care of you 24/7. It's not a hard pitch. If you're in need of insurance, go to Michael Nichols. Look, we know all insurance rates are going up. Mine went up. But you know what? The service that Michael Nichols and his team bring are second to none. That's why you call him at 777-6888. All right, that's Team Tommy Mac. Let's get into the team stats review. Wearing a dark shirt, so you can't see me sweat today. There's no air in this sucker. I'm not complaining. Doesn't bother me one bit. Get some weights in there. Give me a heavy bag in here, man. That's what we should be doing. Knocking the shit out of that damn thing. All right. Team stats review. We'll look at the Jags. We'll look at the Pats. I do it every week. Points, yards per carry, yards per attempt, plus the percentage, completion percentage. Third down conversion, fourth down conversion. That's big these days. Sacks, giving up and getting. Interceptions, same. And turnover ratio. Once again, we are not on that positive side. We are not good there. All right, let's start with points. Our offense averages 18.8, 19 points a game. I mean, how awful is that? Oh, very awful. Defense giving up 30 points a game, 29.7. That is terrible. 30 points a game. The Patriots, their offense only giving up 13 or only scoring 14 points a game. Last week they got 21, I believe, under Drake May. He threw 3 touchdowns, threw 2 picks too, but we'll see about that. And their defense gives up 24 points a game. So why am I picking us 20-10? I just feel like it's going to click. And it's got to. All right, yards per carry. This is something. They give up 4.6 yards per carry. Okay? By the way, you know how I feel about yards per carry. That tells the whole story. Yards per game don't tell you nothing. Because so what? I have 120 yards, but it took you 40 carries. I win. It's 3 yards a carry. I'm kicking your ass all day long. Don't give me that. It's all yards per carry. So they're at 4.6 giving up. We run it for 5.3. Now, ETN's probably not playing, but guess what? Tank is at 7.2 yards a carry. Do you think we should run the ball? Mates. Hey, mates out there, do you think we should run the ball? I think we should. Their offense, they average 4.6 yards per carry. We're at 4.3. By the way, creeping up. It was 4.1 a week ago. Got to slow that down. Last year, that's what happened. We were 3.6 for a while. Then with 3.8, 3.9, 4, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. And then at the end, it was terrible. You got to clamp that up big time. All right, yards per attempt. That means how far is the quarterback throwing the ball downfield per attempt? If I'm dinking and dunking, who cares? It's not Yak. It is Yak. Yak's part of it. Thinking and dunking with Yak, okay. But if that's not going nowhere, it's not any good, right? So you got yards per attempt. Our offense, 7 yards per attempt, 61% completion. It's okay. Our defense sucks. 8.1 yards per attempt at 71% completion. Think about that. My yards per attempt and the way I complete 7 out of 10 at 8 yards a clip. How do you win? Well, you're not pressuring the QB. You only have 14 sacks. You're not pressuring the QB when it's that. You can call coverage. I'm not saying coverage isn't part of the problem. But this is a problem. You got to rush your quarterback. Inconsistent pass rush. Thank you. Saying that freaking weeks. It's unbelievable. All right, so on third down for their offense, not third down, yards per attempt, 5.5. What was Drake May? He was 60.6, so he's a little bit better. 7.4 yards per attempt in his first start. They give up 7.3. So we should be all right there. I mean, look, you don't want Drake May. If Drake May sits back there and tears us apart, I don't know what I'm going to feel like. I really don't. If we lose to the Pats and our defense sucks it up like they've been sucking it up, not in a good way. I don't know. I just don't understand Ryan Nielsen's how he's the rotations are shouldn't be happening. B, the miscalculation on talent with Lloyd as my Mike backer. While I'm not playing press, everyone's like man-to-man. They play 49% man-to-man. Well, all we heard, remember when Ryan Nielsen was I think it was one of his first press conferences, and everyone's like, oh, you play a lot of man. He's like, I'm glad you said that. It looks like man. He's talking about cover 2 press, right? The Tampa 2 deep safety, which means what with the press? My corners are on the line of scrimmage. So in cover 2, you basically have that man. You're eventually going to release him, but on press, you stick. Like you're up, you stick in the beginning. Then you eventually let him go, right? In cover 2, when the tight end goes up the middle, that's why that backer runs with him all the way. It's his man. It's man-to-man. You got to make a play on the ball, but it's man-to-man. So that I don't know why we're not doing the cover 2 press. Look, I would have benched Darby last week. I would have after the second one. And with Tyson back, I may bench him this week and put Monteric Brown. Now, I'm not saying may. I would. Buster Brown would be one corner. Tyson Campbell would be the other. I don't care if they play the same side. Move them over. That's what I'm talking about, right? Because Darby could go to the GM and say, what the hell? Why am I being benched? What the hell? You brought me down here. Why am I being benched, right? And then the GM's got to go to the coach. Why are you benching him? And the coach says, well, he's not performing well, and I think Buster's been playing well. Well, we've got this money in him, right? That's what I'm talking about. The politics got to go. Get rid of him. No more. No more. Just get rid of him. Play the best players, period. Ronald Darby, although started out fine, and in his defense, why play him off when he's a press guy? That's all we heard about him. Now, here's a question. With Tyson coming back, can Ryan play his defense like he wants to? I don't know. We're going to find out. But that's got to be better. And without any rush, inconsistent pass, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You weren't getting that from Roy Robertson Harris either, so whatever. Send him to. There's something to that, though. There's something to that move. Why him? Why now? Something must have gone down. All right, third down conversion. We're about even across the board. So here's a key to victory for our Jaguars and for New England. Whoever wins third down has got the best chance to win. We don't win it on offense. Neither do they. They're just as bad as we are. We're at 30.5%. They're at 31%. Both terrible. That is terrible. You give the ball back 2 out of 3 times on third down. That sucks. Defensively, they're at 45. We're at 44.3. That sucks too. I'm sick of this team sucking. It drives me insane. Fourth down. Let's go. We're not the same. We're 7 of 14 on offense. They're 6 of 9. We're 7 of 9 on defense, meaning they convert 7 out of 9 times. Look, fourth downs they're 1 of 4 on defense. Fourth downs become a big play. I mean, it's huge. I don't always agree with it, but You can't deny that. I mean, our offense has had 14 attempts. Our defense has had 9. All right, sacks. We've given up 17 as an offense. They've given up 23. There's something there. Defensively, they both have 14. They got one guy, Keon White, at 4 sacks. A couple guys at 2, the rest at 1. We've got 14 sacks, and 7.5 are from our 2 guys, 44 and 41. 44 was with 5, and Josh Hines-Allen with 2.5. I would ask Josh Hines-Allen. Now, granted, you went from a 3-4 outside backer to a 4-3 DN. You got to be a little bit bigger, but you didn't need to be that much bigger, and it slows you down. You're still, Josh Hines-Allen's not the problem, but we need more production out of him, big time. And he needs help from the interior. Eric Armstead, Mason Smith, maybe Jefferson, maybe Hamilton, maybe Assezi, and then whatever. Put Lloyd in on my, when they got to take a rest. Here's an idea, okay? I just thought of an idea. Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker should never, ever, ever leave the field on defense unless they need a blow. Don't take them both out at the same time. What the hell is that? How about this? When one of them needs a blow, whoever needs a blow, throw in Lloyd. Throw in Lloyd, passing down especially. They need a blow. Why those guys are off the field on critical downs, no way. Are they out of condition? I don't think so. I don't think Trayvon is. Josh may be a little bit. He was chugging along there, chasing that QB last week. Didn't look as fast as he's looked in the past. Maybe he's tired. Maybe they're not doing enough condition. Well, coach says more well-conditioned. Run their ass. It's not rocket science. It's not. It's crazy. So do we have something there? They give up 23 sacks. Can we get the sack machine going? Come on, guys. Have some damn pride on the inside. Eric, play tackle, please. Just play tackle. I'm sorry. I wouldn't let him play it. I wouldn't. Done playing it. All right, interceptions. We've thrown 3. So if they've got 3, we have 1. Cisco last week. Great play. Set him up nice. I think we had 13 at this time last year. Or turnovers, at least. I don't know about picks, but we had probably about 8 or 9 picks, didn't we? We're -4 in the turnover ratio. They're -1. Can't win with that. Can't turn the ball over. And we don't do anything on the takeaway side this year. Last year, we had 27 takeaways total. Problem was we had 30 giveaways. But I'll take the 27 takeaways. We don't have, I don't even know what we have. Maybe 4? Not good. Not good at all. So, 20-10, Jags win. I'm not giving up yet. You can do what you want. I'm not talking draft. You can shove that up your ass. I mean, that's not to anybody specifically, but you start talking draft now. No. Draft ain't coming to save you. The only thing that's going to save this team right now is the current players on it. I'll tell you a story. Granted, it got him canned, but it was poignant nonetheless. Because in the 4th week of 1996, we were 1-2. We just lost to Oakland when they were Oakland. Remember Jerry Ball, tip pass. He ran. I couldn't believe it. It was 300-plus pounds. He beat everybody to the end zone. It was unbelievable. It's like a 70-yard interception after a tip ball, and we lost. And we go back. We go to New England, week 4. And the night before the game is Coach Coughlin's team meeting. And I said this before as a joke, but it was pretty poignant at the time. And Andre Rison was still on the team, and he was sitting with Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell, and they were on each side of him. And me and Pete Mitchell are in the row in front of them, and we can hear them talking. And Andre, who was, I don't know about drunk, but he was tipsy. He looked sharp as that guy could dress, man. I liked Andre. He was cool to me. He was always cool to me. But he could dress. And he had on this 3-piece, beautiful, I think it was brown, tan, somewhere in that kind of color range. And the vest was like unbuttoned with button, and the tie was down. It's like, one of those CEOs that gets off work. It's like, I've had a long day. Throw the scotch down or whatever. And he's saying to Dre and Smooth, he's saying, if he says something to set me off, I'm going to say something. They're both going, don't do it, Trey. Don't do it. Me and Peter, like, holy cow, nobody's ever interrupted Coach Coughlin ever in a team meeting. And finally, wouldn't you know, Coughlin says something, and Andre Rison says, Coach, I got something to say. And he goes, Ryan, or he goes, Andre, the floor is yours. So Andre gets up, walks up in front of the team, turns around, and he says, F the bullshit. True. Exact line. F the bullshit. This ain't their team. This is our team. It's not them. It's us. And he went on this whole thing, rigmarole, blah, 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 blah. But that was poignant because what he was saying was, and by the way, Coughlin may have cut him, but Coughlin wanted that. He wanted the team to feel that. You know, a lot of guys feel like one of his philosophies make them so mad at me that they come together as a team. That was one of the philosophies, and probably pretty true. Now, granted, he cut Andre because Andre went rogue on him, and rogue on Brunell, wouldn't run the right routes, and Brunell got pissed off, and we had Jimmy Smith coming up. Andre went to Green Bay and won a Super Bowl, for crying out loud. So did Desmond Howard, who was on our team. But he was right. It is the players' team. And it's up to the players to win ball games. Yes, they got to take the coaching. Yes, give me the game plan. Yes, tell me my role. Yes, tell me all the plays. Yes, give it to me. I'm going to make sure I know it all. I'm going to make sure I know it all. I don't know why people out there defend some of these players like you don't think that's true. You kiss their ass like they're going to even care what you think. Most of them don't. I'm sorry, they don't. But you kiss their ass. You kiss their ass. It's the coaches. It's just, this ain't high school. It's professional football, man. And if you've never played it, I don't know. Maybe they don't know, but it's a real job. It's your job. It's a job. It's not a game. It's a job. And if they would just do their job fully focused, we'd win more football games. I'm telling you, man. That's at least, look, I don't have all the answers, but that's what I would do. I would bench guys, and I would play guys where they're supposed to play, and I wouldn't give two shits when anybody says if I'm Doug Peterson. Because guess what? At the end of the day, he's the one that's going to get fired first. And I don't think that's right. Not yet, at least not yet. I'm not saying that it couldn't be down the road. I wouldn't fire anybody yet. I'd give him a chance still. If this thing keeps going by guys doing what? Blowing assignments, being out of position, and being unconditioned, something's got to happen. And you players that are unconditioned, shame on you. You ain't that ain't being a pro. That ain't being a man. That ain't being a pro. You should always be in shape. If you're playing professional sports, college sports, high school, that should never be a factor. And they pay you to work out, you lazy bums. Get on that treadmill, run some sprints, run some gassers, do something. And coach, if they won't do it, then do it during practice. That should never be the case. All right, that's going to do it for me. I'm getting off my soapbox. Got a haircut coming up. I'm got to shave this. Look at this mop I got. I've got a meeting. My wife and mother-in-law, they're traveling to Mobile. I'm thinking maybe some monkey's uncle. I want to shoot some pool. I love shooting pool. If you're in the area, come and, I don't know. I think I'll be there. I think I'll pull the trigger. I live not too far, so that's always it's one of my favorite. And I'm from Chicago and went to Boston. I'm not kidding. Once you're inside there, it's one of my favorite neighborhood sports bars that I've ever been into, right there. And they're not part of Team Tommy Mac. Well, they are in this, not fiscally, but anywhere I go is part of Team Tommy Mac. And if you say hi to me, you're part of it too. So have a great day. Have a great weekend. Jags win 20-10. I like the early kickoff, man. I do. It makes for a really long day. I will say that. But I kind of like breakfast and coffee with a little Jaguar football, man. Hopefully they get it done and beat the New England Patriots this weekend. Until next time, stay safe and be cool out there, man. Take care of one another. One life on this earth, man. Live it to the fullest. One life on this earth. You never know when your time is up, so be good to one another. Take care of yourself. And, man, smell the roses because they're out there, and count your blessings because they're out there too. We'll see you next time right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace and love.